In this video I want to talk about materials, drawing materials. A lot of people might think that it's pretty much straightforward and there's nothing complicated about it, but I think it's a very important topic to cover because mainly I found that my drawings depend on what materials I use to draw with, what paper I draw with, and so on. So first thing I'd like to cover is pencils. It's like my personal preference for manga drawing and actual pages, drawing pages. I tend to use mechanical pencils, and I use different variety of pencils. I mean the size of the leads, but these are some of the basic. So my smallest is 0.3. This is like fine detail, and then I usually sketch with the blue lead. I'll show you what it looks like. It looks kind of like this. And I've also just found it out when I joined the masters this year, and this is quite awesome pencil because I found that you could sketch with it, and then as soon as you're finished with the sketch and you're happy with it, you could straight away ink straight on the paper. And then what's cool about this, that when you scan it, your scanner probably won't pick it up as strongly as it would pick up the normal HB or B or 2B lead or black pen. After that, say for example you draw on your page, you inked it, it's very easy to eliminate it in Photoshop. So for example, you scan this page with the ink, imagine there's ink for example, and yeah, the scanner would pick up some of the blue lines, but then you would go in Photoshop and then just switch it off. These, you know, it could play with the settings and pretty much clearly like erase the blue lines from there, which I think is pretty neat thing. So yeah, that's that. For the pencils, like the leads, another thing I would like to sort of advise, this is my personal preferences, but this is what I found that works for me. When I draw with mainly B, HB or 2B maximum. I never go into H leads because I noticed that when I draw, if I draw some precise or something, depending also on the paper, the H leads can leave marks, dents and scratches on the paper. Say for example you draw something and you want to erase, so where the place where the lines were, if you erase it, the color would leave, but then you will see these marks and the dents on the paper. Also depends whether whether you pressed on the lead too much or not. But yeah, the same thing happens when you overdo it with the 2B or higher leads. It could leave dents, and what's even worse, that it could leave the marks whenever you erase. So yeah, I tend to go with the HBB sort of type of leads, and this is like safe mark for me. This is what works. So yeah, just when you pick up the pencils and stuff, make sure, you know, try them out and pick what is the best for you. I do use normal pencils, but I tend to use them more for live drawing. I tend to use graphite and chalks for live drawings, but that's live drawings. With live drawings you can be messy and you can go all over the place. When I draw my manga pages, I tend to be quite precise and careful with my lines so that I won't waste paper. Paper is quite expensive. So yeah, this is this. The blue leads for the pencil, They go like this. They look the same as the, you know, the leads that for normal pencils. Mine is Pentel and it's blue. You can get them in red as well. Red actually acts the same as blue. Why it's red or blue is both of those colors are quite easy to eliminate in Photoshop. If you're interested, I can make a video tutorial on that later, how to get rid of all the blue lines in Photoshop. But yeah, this is what it looks like. So if you're interested, you know, you could easily ask your, you know, in your local art shop. I'm pretty much sure that majority of art shops do have them. So if you cannot find them, just ask people. They should know what you're talking about. So yeah. Now to move on to the erasers. I prefer soft erasers, and soft erasers, you could, I'm not sure how to describe that, but when you actually touch them, I use this one. When you actually pick them up and you know, touch them, you actually feel that they're soft. You know, it's just like this sensation. What I like about them is that they're very easy to, you know, quick to erase. They're quite messy, but you know, this is one of their downsides. But they're quite good on erasing. That's why, you know, a majority of artists that I know prefer to use this one, like soft ones. I quite like when I work on my manga pages, if I work on something like very small panel and there's only tiny bit that I want to erase, I use mechanical eraser. But generally I'm not big fan of those because the leads, I'm not sure, maybe the refills for them you can also find different types, but generally I don't like the refills and what goes in them. But this one is really good. I picked it up in London Graphics Centre, and I don't remember how much it was, but yeah, if you live in London or somewhere in UK, you can definitely you know, go and check it out. They still have it, I think. It's really good to erase tiny marks, like if there's like tiny eye you want to erase or something like this. So yeah, generally these two are my top selectors, top choices. There's also one brand which I quite like, but I haven't seen it in the UK. If you kind of like Factus, it's also like, it's my #1 choice of the erasers, but it's quite messy at the moment. I've had this one for ages. It's been lasting for like literally ages, but this is like, these two are my #1 choice. Okay, well, that's that for erasers. Now let's talk about paper and sketchbooks. When you're on the go, I suggest you have like a small sketchbook. Just say if you have some ideas, you could write them down, or you could draw them, sketch them down. This is what I usually do when I'm on the go. I usually have a small, like A5 size sketchbook, like this one. This is A5, and I have lots of different sketches here. Yeah, this is like A5, and it fits in my smallest bag that I have, and it's quite, you know, big enough to have some sketches in there. The other one I actually picked it up in I think it's a small Asian store that sells lots of cute stationery and also cute stuff. It's like Art Box or something like that, I think it's called. It's in Covent Garden in London. Yeah, it's like a little bit bigger than the other one, and I have like lots of stuff. The pages here are smooth, which I like, but a little bit downside, as you can see, they're quite thin, and then you know, it goes it's quite thin and it can crumble and stuff. But generally, what I do when I pick up the paper that I draw with, I tend to open and touch the page. If I like the smoothness of the paper, I generally tend to take the, means that it is quite a good quality for me, that's enough. Depending what you're drawing, if it's just a rough sketches, any paper would do, just as long as it's like a book or something and you can take it. If it's like big, something big like live drawing you want to do, you would like to buy probably A3 size sketch pad with a little bit thicker pages, like 150 or 160 GSM. Also try to look for a smooth quality of the paper, because with the smooth paper, it's nice to work with a smooth paper. If I'm drawing with my Copic markers, I tend to go for a thicker paper, and I've tried many, but I've picked a couple which work best for me. So number one is Bristol Board by these guys, and what I like about it is it's very smooth and thick. It's like 200 to 250 GSM. This is what how the thickness of the paper, at least in UK. Maybe in the States it's 115 lbs. Maybe that's what it is in the States. I don't know, but generally try to look for very thick, 250 minimum. Well, I tend to use that, and a smooth finish. It is very smooth. Another paper that worked for me was also, I found it in UK. I'm not sure whether you could find that in the States, but if you are interested, you can send me a note and I'll research what type of paper works in the States, and maybe in Canada you can find it too. But I've tried that one as well with Copic markers. It's a white card and it's 240G, I presume it's GSM as well. It's it's okay. It's a little bit less than the previous one, but it works okay. I used to work with that before I found the other paper. If you want to draw, say, manga pages, I would suggest you would buy a professional manga. I will put the link to the shop in my description box, where you could find that shop. But generally, it's the one that you can find here in UK or online is this brand, Deleter. I'll try to find that. Yeah, that. About the paper is actually, I tried it out. It's quite nice. I'll show you. This is it. It has like those markings you could buy with the marks at the other side, which is quite helpful, because it shows you where would be the border of your page and until like where is the bleed and where you need to position your page right. The only thing I'd like to note to you guys is that mine is A4 size. If you want to send your manga to like a Japanese manga magazine, you need to draw on a B4 paper size, which is a little bit bigger than this one, and like I think it's in between A3 and A4. It's just something to deal with the resolution or the size of the Japanese manga magazines, the way they print them. It would be more convenient, but I don't know, at the moment I bought A4 because I simply don't have A3 scanner to scan my bigger size of the page. This is the reason why I went for A4. However, it doesn't really matter if you say draw your manga digitally, say in Photoshop or in Manga Studio, because there you could just set up settings and draw your manga there. So this is it for the materials tutorial. I hope I didn't bore you to death. If you have any questions, please put comment below, or send me a message. I'll try to be helpful and reply to your all messages. If you have suggestions to what you want me to cover, please also put down the comment below. And I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye!